don't be having nothing else to do. I don't be wanting to look mad. I always look mad. My resting face looks angry.
I got you. Would say it's so chill. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I just be deep in thought, but my resting face looks angry. So
I got you.
I do all it. So look like I'm not, like I'm not mad. You look at old pictures of me, I promise you would have thought I was the meanest.
What's up, Terica? What's up, Terica? Peace to you, sister.
Peace, sis.
Yeah. Yeah, that is. That's a trip.
So much to talk about. We got so much to talk about. So much to talk about.
You hear me?
The note. Okay.
No, hold on. Let me see.
Let me make sure do not disturb on. Peace, y'all. I saw something pop up. Hold on. What was it? It said peace and oneness. Peace to you, Ajana. Peace to you, King's Corner. It's really Comer, but I always say corner.
It's Comer.
Yeah, Comer.
Okay.
Queen of Rise Lotus Planter. Peace to you.
Peace.
We hard to connect with.
We're
just right super busy. We here now.
Yeah.
Balanced vibes, beloved family. I love that, Tammany. Y'all know I mispronounce things, but it's not intentional.
Yeah.
I get sensitive when people mispronounce my name. And I used to be mean. I did. And I'd be like, it's Camson. And I'm like, it's not their fault. They don't know how to pronounce my name.
Tremere, Phil.
Peace to you, Tao VHS.
Yeah.
Yes. If y'all know somebody that y'all could share this with, for those of you who know who we are and what we do, share this because this is absolutely transformational show that we're going to do today.
Peace to you.
So share this with somebody. Go ahead and hit that share.
Share the live right now. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk about it. Yeah.
You read the 1320 for today. And then we get into the rest. We start off like that.
Okay.
Peace, y'all. Give us a minute. Let's get set up and give a few more minutes for people to come in. We'll introduce ourselves like we always do and get started with the show. Well, we do sometimes. I don't always remember to introduce myself.
Yeah. So, okay. It's the other one.
What you looking for?
Yeah.
This.
Okay. All right. Well,
You want to screenshot and put a note?
I think I already got it.
It's not in this note.
You don't think?
No,
I was talking about. But it's all good.
Yeah. It's in a note.
Okay.
All right, so peace, y'all. We got 15 people in here. Look like we can get started. We got one person in here on Instagram. That's what's up.
Yeah. Peace.
Thank y'all for joining us. You are joining Camps in the Oracle.
And Ernest.
And we together are Remnants Gathering,
yes.
AKA Widow Gang. If you're wondering what the WGG is. And again, we believe that we assign meaning to things based on our intention. So instead of allowing weird to be something that's a negative thing, I mean, there's polarity to everything and varying degrees of everything. So when we say weird, we just mean we're unique. We do our own shit. And we don't feel pressured to move the way other people move. We find our own groove.
That's right.
So yeah, in case you didn't know, but for those of you who know who we are, peace to you.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for joining us.
Appreciate y'all being here. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
So the galactic signature for today is the yellow galactic warrior. Yellow galactic warrior. And we're going to read some background on what the yellow galactic warrior represents. I harmonize in order to question modeling fearlessness. I seal the output of intelligence With the galactic tone of integrity, I am guided by the power of universal fire.
So this is the energy of today, and so this is based on my calendar. Some of these things can come more from the Toltec prophecies as well that we'll be discussing today. We're going to get into that and explain what this is and what may be happening for you, because right now we are absolutely going through a solar initiation. So as you can see by the title, we'll be discussing the difference between being in creation mode and reaction mode. And this was groundbreaking the way it came to us. I was like, wow, those two words are the exact same words, but a different order. It's like an anagram of each other. It's like a mirror reflection of each other.
Right.
But one is
One
from
extreme.
the wounded aspect and the other is from the healed aspect.
So you got both extremes, yeah.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
So, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to get into some recent events that happened and give you some background as to what we feel that means. And there's a lot we're going to read, and it may seem like a lot of information and we're going fast. So if you want to take notes, because we will be going into what this sixth sun or this 25-year solar cycle could possibly be affecting us here on the planet. So before we get started, the first thing I wanted to say that felt really significant, we're going to break down being in creation mode or are you in reaction mode, because that causes a lot of internal conflict within our relationships and with each other and with the reality that we're creating. And you are a projection, and so your thoughts are always broadcasting something. If you are live, your ass is live, just like we are all the time.
Right.
And it's like, what are you broadcasting? What mode are you in? You know what I'm saying? And I be in do not disturb mode, like my phone often. So I catch myself and I'm like, okay, that's not creation mode right now. I was kind of relaxing and chilling. Now it's time to get back active.
Okay.
So we're going to be breaking this down for y'all. Before we get started, I want to say that something happened recently.
Hey, love.
Something happened. Peace.
Yeah, our baby in here.
Oh, what's up, baby girl? My baby girl.
Yeah.
So, look, y'all. Recently, there was a picture taken of waves that were crashing at in the UK, in the United Kingdom. And the picture looks exactly like the face of Neptune. And Neptune is this Roman goddess, right? Neptune is also part of the cosmic planets. So if you look at this picture, we can show it to you here. I don't know how well it shows up. Back in the day, I used to do that a lot. But yeah, you can see it. Look at that. So yes, this is, I think it's called like a paladrea or something like that, where we look at clouds and things and see images in them. And so this was captured, and they were saying that this, happened while this photographer just so happened to be taking pictures of these waves. And so that's just like, what kind of waves are hitting us right now? If you have not gotten to this point where you're paying attention to what's happening in nature and around you, and then being like, how is that communicating something to me? I just want you to know you might still be sleeping and you're on your way to waking up. So when you wake up, you pay attention to shit that other people think is weird and maybe even stupid. Other people are like, that's Photoshop, and like we get that, and we know that there is that can be done. However, we also know that spirit speaks in signs and symbols, and so if you're not like decoding this stuff, at least attempting to pay attention, then what are you investing your attention into? And that's probably why your life is not looking the way you want it to look, because you are putting investment in places that's not serving you. So Neptune. Now Neptune's glyph or symbol resembles the trident that the god Poseidon, which is also Neptune, is often shown holding. The crescent, representing receptivity, is pointing upwards, indicating spiritual receptivity. And it is placed above the cross of matter. We can see the attack on matter right now. We're going through it. Like, we're really trying, like, the 3D matrix feels really dense to those of us who've been sick of this shit. We was born knowing something was wrong with the world we existed in and people's perceptions and beliefs in the way they were treating each other.
Yeah.
So, spiritual receptivity. And so your spiritual receptivity is what's starting to alter your matter, starting to alter the things in your life, the shit that really matters to you. You're finding yourself to see that I made a big deal about that, and that shit really don't even matter to me. Somebody else made me feel like that shit should matter to me. So I was acting like it was mattering, but it's not even lining up with my authentic, resonant truth. That shit don't matter to me. I don't care if they racist. I don't care if they, like, I don't have to react to that. You know, that is just a level of your spiritual receptivity where it begins shape-shifting your life. So this symbolizes the yearning of the soul to break free from the restrictions and limitations of matter or reality. Like, is this resonating with y'all? Y'all know when we do a show, we have to bring it. So I know this is resonating. I'm just asking just to get an amen or ashe, because I already know y'all feeling it. So that's just to open up the show. Like, just letting you know. If you're the kind of person that look at clouds and shit and be like, whoa, look at that big ass bunny.
Right.
Like, you're not strange. But when you have not really trusted yourself, you don't trust your spiritual receptivity. So you don't even trust the shit that you see and experience.
That's true.
But in reality, we need to pull ourselves away from the shit that we see and allowing what we see to dictate what we believe and know. It is with the inner mind, the inner eye, with your heart. What do you feel inside of you? So just what you see on the outside and allowing that spiritual receptivity to show you what that is or what that could mean for you, that communication is coming through, that's just a manifestation of what's happening in the inside of all of us. And we're opening up, we're healing, we're trying to get to a place where we are more open and we're not afraid to take risk and we're not afraid to be rejected. And we're not afraid to be our authentic self. We're not afraid to make moves that people probably feel like is not appropriate or whatever it may be.
Right. Yeah.
So now we can get into the reaction mode versus the creation mode. Let you pick up.
Are you always the effect of circumstances, or are you the cause? If a life is truly purpose-driven, you make moves with a cause. As a creator, we realize that we are the cause and not the effect to anything. Reaction mode is responding to your environment like a thermometer.
Yeah.
Whatever the environment is, whatever the temperature is, energetically, that's what you match. However, matching the temperature of however, creation mode is the living as a creator, being the cause, living for a cause, not allowing your emotions to be an effect of someone or something else in your life.
Boom. That's why a lot of y'all be frustrated. Because you know that you be letting external shit control you way too much. And you be frustrated about that. The frustration is great because that's going to give you the fire that you need to make changes.
That's right. Reaction mode is a defensive way to live. Reaction mode is a defensive way to live. Always fighting to defend yourself because you feel like a victim to others and your circumstances. So true. To leave the reaction mode, one must first decide to stop playing small, make plans, create goals that make you nervous, then plan them out. Allowing the universe to align the events necessary to step into this higher potential of yourself.
That's major. So for so many of us, we feel that pull. You can tell that you're not being a co-creator. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's in your relationship, you're not really being active, you're being passive. You're just always reacting to what they do that you like or don't like. Like, you're not really creating moments. You're not really taking the initiative, right? Which is why we have this solar initiation coming, where we're going to have the confidence to do things that we were afraid to do before. And so this is just in my introspection. And then, I represent the Isis energy in our relationship. So his wounded masculine, when it show up, it teaches me lessons. And I can be patient with him because I'm learning something from witnessing his wounds showing themselves to me. And that's how I gather this.
And you transmute it.
And I
So
transmute
beautifully
it.
too. Yes.
Absolutely. Like,
Yes.
what can we learn from this and what can we teach and share where people can really level up? So that's one of the modalities that we're being called to be in the 4D, 5D consciousness.
That's right.
Peace to you. Real smart person. Look at that. And the 5.
Johnny.
I
Ashe,
love
Ashe.
it. Thank you for
Yes,
that. May they
thank
return
you.
to you 36 to 100-fold. We don't even ask for donations. We don't post our PayPal streaming at the bottom, cash. Like, we don't be doing none of that. We probably should. Other people do it. But thank you so much because we didn't even have to
Appreciate
ask for that. That makes it
Yeah.
mean more.
Yeah. Reaction mode doesn't allow you to have any initiative because you are in fight or flight, or
Ooh.
aka reaction mode. This is one main sign as to which mode you operate within. Creation mode creates the mindset, sacred space, and spiritual practices that'll nurture the creation you desire to give birth to enter into this world. Creation mode is the observer of thoughts, while reaction mode is the mind controlled audience of thoughts.
I think you're going to have to read that again.
Creation mode is the observer of thoughts, while reaction mode is the mind or the mind controlled audience of thoughts. Watching your thoughts and tending to them by transmutation of negative thoughts to positive ones is a result of creation mode. I think I need to say that again. That's somewhat of a challenge to grasp. But watching your thoughts, hear us out. Watching your thoughts and tending to them by transmutation of those negative thoughts into positive ones is a result of creation mode. However, witnessing the thoughts, refusing to address them by passively allowing them to convince you of something that isn't true. Do we do that? Yes, we often do that a lot. I know I have. Reaction mode is reflected in the relationship between mainstream media and brainwashed masses. The brainwashed collective live in reaction mode. Y'all, we see it. Those who are awakening are making moves to be creators in creation mode. The ego was created to manage our reaction mode. Our higher self exists to manage our creation mode.
Like, for real. Like, what y'all feeling? What y'all feeling? Because I was so
Can it be that it's all that simple?
It like literally is laid out in
Man.
such simplicity, but it's answering so many complex issues at one time. That is powerful.
Yeah.
And
so
that came through
we have to let
his wounded masculine.
we have to let this sit and marinate, and you have to process it. Yeah. Creation mode versus reaction mode.
And so what happens is you've been doing the work, right? You've been doing shadow work, self-love. You've been learning how to create boundaries and say no. You've been trying to exercise your throat chakra more and speak your truth and speak how you feel. You're not afraid anymore to express your emotions, right? We've been doing this deep work and this deep healing. All of that activates your higher self. So your higher self is wanting to come into your life and help you process life, help you to change your perspective. Perspective per se in the light spectrum in which you view things. This is why we have the consciousness war that is happening right now that I attempted to share with y'all And it has been blocked on every platform that I tried to share that message. So I will be doing
We're making some different moves.
yeah. But the information is too important to not get out there. So as the oracle, you know, again, I can't, you can't wear titles just to wear titles. You got to do the work. And so, you know, we've been doing that work, and this is coming as a result of that. And so his wounded masculine showed up. And because I've been so focused on healing my sacral and my feminine energy and grounding myself, you know, and allowing myself to feel safe in my own masculine energy, creating that space for myself to relax, teaching myself how to relax. So if his wounded masculine come up, it don't have to be a huge falling out of issue or even a reason to start throwing out threats and saying shit like, well, maybe we don't need to be together, and all that old coward shit where you just start running from the conflict of what's happening to where you know, when your yoni has been going through these healing initiations, you're like, it activates me. And the dark god is like, hold up. Hold up. Like this, hold up. I know what this is. And so he was being reactionary to me. And it was in a way where I was just like, wait a minute. You're not creating this moment right now. You're running on a narrative based on a wound that's not allowing you to see the issue that I'm pointing out to you. And I was just like, don't allow yourself to be in reaction mode, babe. You're a creator. Where's your creation mode? And like that shit like blew my mind. And so I wrote this message, and I cannot wait to get on here today and share it.
That's how those lessons come.
Yeah.
Yeah. But does that resonate? Is that resonating? The fact that our ego is what was created in order for us to function in that reaction mode. You know what I'm saying? I can think back. Most of the times I've had an egotistical moment, a strong egotistical moment. It was in reaction to something. Yeah. But on the opposite spectrum, when I really get to the place of listening to myself and being calm and being grounded and being centered, I can make choices as well as create opportunities or come up with the ideas to do something creative. You know what I'm saying? So that resonated so strongly for me when that lesson came.
Yeah, that's huge. That was major. So that leads us into the metaphysical capacity of as to what is happening metaphysically, where these are the experiences that we're having. So I want to break down, we're going to break down the 6 sun solar cycle. It is also known as we're in the 25th solar cycle. But when you look at the cycles based on the Mayan calendar, we're going to give you the science and the mathematics, which is equivalent to the metaphysics of this calendar system that allows you to be in an organic, sacred timeline, time, space, versus trapped in a Gregorian timeline, time, space. We've talked about the 1320 frequency versus 1260. We've talked so much about this, and we have classes about this at remnantsgathering.com. Go to our classes and our online courses and webinars, and if you want to study more about this, especially if this is your first time hearing about this, or maybe you just want to know more about it, those are there, both free and classes that you can purchase. Now, I'm going to let Ernest read the solar cycle to you, and then when I need to channel something, I'll jump in and share that with y'all.
Okay. Similar to the Mayan calendar, the Aztec calendar measures time, but not the way we do today. While there is a 365-day calendar, it is overlaid by a second calendar that is comprised of 260 days broken into 13 weeks, I'm sorry.
And 13-day weeks. So their weeks are 13 days, and there are 20 of them in each cycle in what we would call a year.
This calendar, guided by the movement of celestial bodies and sacred dates, was used to determine when to undertake important activities like getting married or going to battle, as well as to predict the future.
Now, there are these Magana points to 3 key years on this calendar. So remember, you were hearing about 2012, and 2012 was like the end of the world based on the Mayan calendar. And then we learned that we were calculating it wrong. That was actually 2021 during the Saturn Jupiter conjunction, when the old world ended, when the old age of Pisces ended and the age of Aquarius began. So we're gonna break down these periods in this transition so you can see the world stage as to what is happening and why it is happening, and how do you fit into all of this.
So as Cam stated, there were 3 dates that were significant: 2012, 2021, and 2026. These 3 years represents periods of great transition and can be broken up into 2 date ranges. The key date that separates the range is May 26, 2021, when a lunar eclipse occurred. There is more to consider, including the movement from a 5th to 6th sun. But we're going to give a version of the prophecy now, in brief. 2012, 5/26/2021.
So all the way from 2012
2012.
to May 26th of this year, 2021.
Humanity has gone through and is continuing to go through its underworlds, or periods of darkness, facing many unresolved problems. From May 26, 2021 to 2026, humanity will begin to escape the dark period, overcoming the obstacles of the times by moving from an outer focus to an inner one, and by working on personal growth.
So since May 26th, that shit turned up.
Yeah.
Like now you're getting to a point where you just like, I cannot accept anything less. I gotta work on myself.
That's right.
Like, and that's beautiful to know that's a cosmic galactic activation that you're experiencing. So this is that solar initiation. This is that second sun activation, that solar plexus energy of having the confidence to be able to walk as the authentic self you are discovering yourself to be.
According to Megana, they are the troubling story.
Do more about the personal, the underworld.
Okay, what is meant by the underworlds we face today? According to Megana, they are the troubling stories that have come to dominate our current news cycle. They include weather events like fires, droughts, floods, and hurricanes, the rise of poverty and the growing gap between the rich and poor, political crisis.
Don't say the word.
Plan. Yeah, the demics.
We need there we go, the demics.
Yeah. But these underworlds may soon come to an end. The Aztec calendar says that we are due for a new cycle that will occur on May 26th of this year and will continue all the way through November 2026. This change in cycles will not be abrupt. There will be some carryover of the underworld period over the next 5 years, but this time will be marked by a gradual shift in human consciousness.
So going more into the human consciousness, which is why the message that I was sharing the other day got cut off. I had really not sat down to see what was really happening. I was just channeling, and it was a channel message, and I was like, let me just jump in and share this now. So this is, as you can see, we're going through these shifts. So leading up to 2026, I know y'all probably haven't heard this date from a lot of other people, but just know that a lot of the things that you're planning and working on now, don't be in such a hurry to see the benefit of that. Just know in 2026, that will be the culmination of the work that you've been doing. So it's not in vain. It's whatever you're going through, it is not in vain. Know that this is your initiation into this expanded consciousness and this higher version of yourself. Now, the Aztec calendar offers us both good news and bad news. So, first, the bad news. Not everyone is making or will be shifting, okay? Making this spiritual shift needed to transition out of the underworld. Period. Everybody not gonna make it. And some religions call this the rapture, or the separating of the wheat and the tares, and how they will be allowed to grow together, but there will come a point where they will be separated. Okay? So it all depends on the path that you are on now and how you are dealing with the current demics.
Yes.
So are you at peace with yourself, or are you at war with yourself? Are you in reaction mode most of the time, or are you stepping into your creation mode? All right. What are you doing when they enforce lockdowns? You know, what are you doing to maintain your growth and build upon your spiritual essence? So to paraphrase Magana, while some people have been working on changing the way they live, some people refuse to change. And these are people who can't overcome their fears and would rather cling to an unworkable system or sit in front of their TV set until things are back to the way they were before. They are hoping for some sense of normalcy to return, but it's not. This is the new world. Things will never go back to what you remember, and that's not a negative thing. The good news. So, on the other hand, there are people who have used their fear during this time of isolation as motivation for their own self-development. They have reevaluated their lives, their relationships, and made what changes they could. This includes taking care of yourself, mind, body, and soul, and using your downtime for spiritual growth. So, for those of us here who are really serious about becoming a better version of ourselves, right? This is a galactic meditation that you can use. It's basically based on Vipassana, which is more like a Buddhist tradition way of meditating. And so you can use this. This will help you to tap into that frequency. So maybe you got a lot of frequencies around you, and it's been difficult for you to get in the groove of things and get the vibration set that you would like to. So this is a different way you can meditate that maybe you have not tried before that I wanted to share with you guys. I like to do this because sometimes when I'm staring into the air, I see things. I actually get visuals. Sometimes in my inner eye, I get visuals, and I can tell that my thought frequency is allowing me to tap into a different wavelength of consciousness when I'm doing this. So basically, what you're going to do, this is a mindfulness technique. It's time for us to train our mind. In order for you to be able to control your emotions, you must train your mind. If you do not train your mind will train you. And so all of us have already become a result of what we think. And we didn't know that we didn't know that it was fake news. We didn't know that the transmissions coming through our thoughts was shit that maybe our parents said to us that hurt us, or somebody we loved or respected, or somebody we were in a relationship with, and they just wounded a part of us. We didn't really know that there was a narrative there. Just like with fake news, there's a narrative and an agenda, and it's attached to a spiritual energy. It's attached to thought forms. You don't have to believe that shit. Just because it's streaming in your mind does not make it true. All right. So, no matter what they are called, these techniques have one thing in common: sitting still with your spine erect, cross-legged if you can, maybe put a cushion under you, eyes open, not closed, eyes open so you don't fall asleep or fantasize too easily. Wall gazing, you might call it. Because the point of mindfulness training is to not entertain yourself with anything more complex than an unadorned plaster wall. A hard thing to do in today's world. So you might as well get on that cushion and face a wall. A lot of old Zen masters did it that way, and they saw the light, and you can too. Yes, to make it successfully down the road to 2012 and beyond, and then on to the glories of galactic synchronization, which happened in 2013, but it is also being mirrored in 2021 now. You must be able to see clearly. That means sitting with your own mind letting go of all attachments to whatever thoughts might arise. When those little obsessive buggers come up, just remember to breathe and dissolve the thought as you exhale. Of course, there will be another thought and then another, but just keep breathing, remembering as you exhale to let the breath take the thought out with it. So if it's something that is not serving you, allow your breath to take that thought out with it. And before all of my readings, I do a brief meditation breathing practice with y'all, you know, and that's why I do that, because we do have the ability with our breath and training our minds. So a lot of us have been watching too much Marvel, and we want to walk outside like Storm and be able to command tornadoes and shit like that, and we brag about it. But then you got a whole range of emotions that you run from or are not dealing with. And that is the true magician, the true alchemist. That is the true spiritually minded individual, where you realize these forces that we've seen in Hollywood exist inside of you. And they show up as thoughts and frequencies and emotions, it's energy. So training your mind and using your breath, like for those of us who have trauma stored in our bodies, trauma has a very biological component to it. You can't do nothing. I'm telling y'all have to decide to do something. You cannot, don't watch the fake news and be a robot, a zombie, and start believing that shit. I'm telling you, your thoughts will have you believing you are the worst fucking individual on this planet and you are not worthy of no good thing. And that shit will make you miss out on a very healthy relationship because you don't feel worthy of the relationship. So because you're not a vibrational match, you could potentially break up a relationship that really was divine and was going to help you evolve.
That's right.
So you can do this about 15 minutes a day. That's a good place to start. If that's too much for you, 5 minutes at a time. I have done this 5-minute increments. See what comes up. It's really amazing. Just staring at the wall. And if sitting in lotus position is too much, I know some people, they tell me they've had surgery and things like that and injuries and they can't sit like that. That's okay too. You can lay down. You can sit in a chair. But just sit facing the wall, just projecting, allowing your thoughts to be projected. And then deal with them with your breath, and you choose what you think about. You choose what you broadcast. You're a creator. You don't have to live in reaction mode anymore. Mm-hmm. So you will slowly begin to notice that you really don't have to live in reaction mode. You know, so who is digging, churning up, and maintaining these obsessive thought patterns anyway?
That's a good question.
Like, where is this shit even coming from? Is it me? Is it what happened to me? You know, do I have an energetic attachment? Did reptilians come last night and put some shit? Like, I'm telling you, it's so much. When your mind opens to the possibilities of the things that are outside of our light spectrum, your mind can really start going places. And that's not necessarily a negative thing, but you want to have some control.
That's right. You gotta have control.
So between the thoughts and the answer to the question, there will always be this space. So it might feel like a void. This is what I call the void. And I really despise the void, because it's just like, I want to get it over with. It's just like, say something. And a lot of y'all, your spirit guide's not talking to you because you be so impatient and you be in such a hurry. And that's not something you can force. That's something that you receive by being in spiritual receptivity, right? So that space in between you asking a question and seeing what thought comes up after that, just remember that that's like a void space. But these are survival techniques for the underworld. So this space has always been there and it is familiar. This space is the beckoning of your true self. And at first you might only glimpse it, but keep at it. It won't go away. It's always been there and always will be. It is your best friend. That is your true self.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you pick up.
Okay.
You can just read through that.
Yeah.
And this is survival for this underworld time that we're in, while we're going through this 6 sun solar initiation.
There is no good, nor bad, nor right, nor wrong. No matter what happens to you, whether you are responsible or not, you have to remember reality is neutral. It is you yourself who put a good, bad, right, or wrong spin on events. Remembering this will keep you from beating yourself up. This does not mean you don't take responsibility for your actions. Of course, we do. Otherwise, we would be creating more karma. But avoid labeling what is happening as either good or bad, right or wrong. It is just what is happening. Thinking bad or wrong will put us in a negative spiral. Events are stepping stones to learning. I'm gonna say that again. Events are stepping stones to learning. Like, we gotta have them. You know, that's everything that we've been talking about. Running from yourself, you won't grow. You'll actually get worse and worse and worse. And over time, because you aren't dealing with yourself,
You get stuck in your ways, and we always blame it on old age, but it has nothing to do with old age.
and
It's just practice. What have you practiced consistently?
That's right.
That's what you become.
And because it's non-moving energy within you, you'll cause yourself to begin to get sick and all other kinds of manifestations. And so that's why it's so important to begin to check yourself. You know what I'm saying? Got to.
Self-acceptance.
Yeah. Self-acceptance and self-forgiveness are the way of the light. If we make arbitrary moral judgments about what is happening to us, we might not really see what we are supposed to learn. Even thinking you are right might be missing the point. Or you might have broken some social rules or even civil laws in your behavior, but those rules are arbitrary too. There is something deeper going on in the universe, and we're all a part of it. See if you can learn what it is. Avoid polarizing. Now, we polarize when we blame others or outside factors for what is happening to us. Or when we feel strongly in the right, we also polarize. Instead of polarizing, we are meant to rise to a higher vibration. The world of the end times is in many ways the product of polarized thinking that has become stratified and institutionalized. The world of the end times is in many ways the product of polarized thinking that has become stratified and institutionalized. Instead of contributing further to polarization, take that tendency in yourself and spiral it up into a higher evolutionary channel. Go super mental. I like that. Yeah, go super mental. And instead think that one whom I might deem to be my enemy or my antagonist is really giving me the opportunity to evolve out of the lesser state of polarity to the higher state of transcendent consciousness. Yes. This is the most magnificent opportunity to let go of negative thoughts and feelings. If you don't do this, you may miss the perfect chance to go beyond yourself. When will I have this chance again? Where there is polarity, create the harmony. Always remember, this is a lesson I am learning. Take this attitude for the following reason. We all came here to learn. The closing of the cycle is all about learning because we are being prepared to graduate to a new evolutionary level. So it doesn't matter how old or experienced we think we are, it's the end times and nobody but nobody has to get it all sold up. All along the watchtower, the times are changing very rapidly. The waters are churning and boiling.
Now, remember I talked about Neptune. So remember that showed up, and you see how it's all tying together?
Whatever happens to us, no matter what it is, big or small, is happening because it is what we need to learn.
Absolutely.
If you think something is inconsequential, think again. When we really learn, we experience a true self-transformation.
But you can't learn nothing if you think you already know the answer. And that is the viral tendency to institutionalize religion. And so it puts you in an arrested development where you're not evolving because you think you know. And a lot of us came into the conscious community and we still carry that vibration. I sit and listen to people, and it don't matter who they are, what stance they are, what they identify with. Like, if you just sit and just be receptive, you will learn something, you know? So you have to remain fresh. Something or someone else is trying to tell you something, and unless you relax your mind, you will not be able to hear what you are being taught. Did you hear that? So take responsibility yourself. No matter what kind of changes you are experiencing, they are all for your benefit. You are being asked to grow into a new form. Remember, matter is changing because of our spiritual receptivity. Each one of us has a distinct pattern of evolutionary growth and a unique timing as well. That is why it is not wise to hold to any rigid forms at all. That's why y'all don't hear me speak on some stuff, because I'd be like, I'm living multidimensional. I can feel this way this minute, the next minute, but y'all will think it means that I'm a sellout or, you know, but really what it is, I'm just going through an evolution and I'm learning, and I'm humble enough to be like, I don't know. I don't know that I know for sure that that's the truth. So, and now on the road to 2012 and beyond, your DNA is calling you into a new evolving pattern, apart from everything you might once have thought yourself to be. These new patterns often manifest as disruptions in our life routine. Sometimes this is shocking, and we might want to say that something or someone outside of us is responsible. No, it is a sign that the time has truly come to take responsibility yourself. It is the only way your true self can know, grow, and evolve beyond itself. When you take responsibility yourself, you are becoming your true self. No blame on any other will ever help your true, authentic self. Only self-acceptance. Taking responsibility for all of your life and actions will allow you to find out what you are really meant to be. A lot of y'all don't know your purpose, and you don't know what you're supposed to be doing because you don't even allow the lessons to come to you. You learn your purpose in the lessons. But if you're not taking responsibility and owning your shit, if you hoish, own it. If you're wifely, own it. Like, whatever it is, own it, and know that even though society may have said there's something wrong with that, or evil about that, or bad about that, or toxic or harmful, like, what does it mean for you? Why is it present in your reality? Is something there for you to gain from it? It could be from past lives, a lesson that you're here to learn. So once you start taking responsibility, then you get in creator mode. And I'm going to give y'all an example of what happened. You know, I like to sometimes just throw our business out there, even though, you know, Ernest might not. I didn't even talk to him about it. But, you know, it's all good because he knows that there's a higher purpose. But just last night, we had one of these moments. And so I have a very weird way that I like to sleep. I like for my head to be like literally an exact centimeter lifted from the bed. And I sleep in these weird yoga patterns sometimes. It is strange that I'm hearing myself out loud. For, like, last night, my body wanted to go to sleep with my left arm above my head like this, my legs crossed.
I'm gonna let you get
and turn sideways. So if he's trying to lay next to me, you know how people be uploading, you know, like black love and black love couples and excellence, and they be laying in the bed together, and like, if you lay like this mean this and this mean that. So I feel like, you know, he kind of has his own feelings in his mind of how we should lay. Whereas I'm all in my finding my authentic self, and I'm like, my body don't want to lay on you right now. It's not personal. I want to be comfortable. And so he's just like, well, sometimes I just want to lay next to you. And I'm like, you can lay next to me. You just can't lay on my pillow because it's going to change the level of my pillow. I'm like, that's just unacceptable. So this shit really obsessed him sometime, like over the years. So last night I was like, damn it, we finna deal with this shit. Soul initiation, damn it. Masculine energy, conscious. Let's bring this shit to the conscious. Babe, I'm comfortable laying like this, but I would love for you to lay beside me. How am I lay beside you? And you laying on weird, your head here. Like, he was really upset. He had a whole little moment, and I let him have his moment. And I was like, babe.
Yeah, because you tried to be sarcastic.
I didn't try to be. I'm sarcastic as hell in my tone, and it's not intentional. I just sound sarcastic.
You sounded all the way sarcastic. You was like, so you don't wanna lay next to me? I'm like, what? All the time I try to lay next to you is this,
and
that.
then I'm just like okay, right. He blamed it on me.
Yeah.
You see that though? You see how quick that come up? He was
did.
like, well, you be laying all weird and yada 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 yada. I'm like, nigga,
I still want to lay.
Get in where you fit in. Like, let's work this out. So you put your elbow right here. Like we literally in this shit, like playing Twister in the bed.
Yeah.
Took us a couple minutes. We both got comfortable, and we was laying beside each other. Yeah. And we on that village shit. So if our kids want to come lay in bed with us, they can. I just don't be rigid about that. And but this last night we had the bedtime sales. I'm like, this in my mind, I'm already thinking about it because I'm like, he always blamed me for the reason why we can't lay next to each other. And so like literally the blame came out so quick. I was like, oh, so you go Adam and Eve me? That's what we doing now? So it's that woman you gave me, God? That's what we doing that. So it's my fault that you can't lay next to me. And so I call him to a level of accountability and responsibility that he had been avoiding unconsciously. He didn't know he had been doing this. I was like, that's no excuse. Like, here you are, got ancestors that built pyramids, and you can't figure out how to lay beside me comfortably while I'm comfortable? Like,
that nigga know how to lay it on, too. Oh, man.
It is what it is. Like, you want to awaken woman. Fellas, if you're single and you're watching this, I am a great example of what you're going to have to deal with. Because guess what? We are going to hold you accountable. Ain't no enabling going on. It's not happening. Like, we're here to help each other grow. We go piss each other off. I'm like Kali sometimes. I'm just coming straight for the ego. I want the head, off with the head. And last night was one of the moments. And we got past some shit. And I was like, how many years have you been blaming me? And maybe even feeling some kind of way that we don't always lay together or whatever it may be, the level of affection that you want. Like, look how many years you've been internally in here, all in here, believing fake news. Had not had a conversation with me really about it so we could figure the fake news out and decode the shit and fix it, but just running on a narrative. And last night, he was able to take that narrative back. So that's just a perfect example of what I'm explaining, how these lessons show up. But yeah.
Yeah,
that felt
so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so it is the only way your true self can know, grow, and evolve beyond itself.
Go sit down. You gotta go sit down. We got too much to focus on and finish. Go sit down. Give us a few minutes. Go tell your brother we'll be finishing in about 20 minutes.
I wanna be on here for
a little while. Okay.
You see what I do? When you take responsibility yourself, you are becoming your true self. Only self-acceptance takes responsibility for all your life and actions. Will allow you to find out who you really are meant to be. The mirror of the closing of the cycle reflects only evolutionary changes. It is important in living through the closing of the cycle to know what things are not only changing very rapidly, but things truly will never be the same again. The slate is actually being wiped clean. There is no other way to nurture that. There is no other way nature can be renewed, and we are all part of this great universal nature. Our little drummers are all reflections of the greater perturbations occurring across the board in Mother Nature's cupboard. That includes our Earth, the Sun for sure, the solar system, and the galaxy. The big shuttle in the cosmic loom is combing through every planetary solar galactic thread. Nothing is being left the same. Yes, it is a cosmic event that is occurring. And we don't very often have the big lens to see it, which is why sometimes it can get so frightening. But you really have to see that when we get to 2012, nothing in the world is going to be the same.
And let me say, and beyond, because this was written prior to 2012.
Yeah.
Actually, this was written in the 80s when we started first entering into the harmonic convergence of the frequencies changing because of the cosmic alignment.
The more we humans can get into a positive frame about this, the better it will be for everybody.
Yep.
Not some dealing with a demic.
Yep.
Yeah. But the more that we can get into a positive frame, the better it will be for everybody. Not fear, but the wholesale regeneration of love is what is called for. Whatever you are afraid of losing, give it up and turn your fear into genuine unconditional love.
Ooh. You let it go. Just be free. Just be free of it. Just be free of it. Be free of it. Because that's a miserable place.
Mm-hmm.
Afraid of losing something. It might not even happen. Go tell your brother. It might not even happen. You might not even lose that thing. So just remember that you're choosing what earth you're going to exist on. You're choosing what reality you're going to exist in by what energy you allow yourself to marinate in. And what are you marinating in? Like, don't allow, again, the narrative for the demic to cause you to be on a timeline of fear. Be prepared, because stuff might just split and go sideways. But be prepared either way, but not to be in fear. Be in the world, but not of the world.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're being called to do and to anchor on this planet. And it do take a lot of courage to do that, because a lot of us just afraid to be ourselves. A lot of us are afraid to be ourselves because people in the world have definitely made us feel like ourself is just not lovable.
We always had a false standard.
Yeah. And
a fake standard.
Yeah, so we become an imposter. Or we become a clone version of ourselves that's watered down. And it's not even really who you truly are and what you truly feel you should be living and doing. So, for a lot of us, it's just going to take one day at a time, one step at a time. Work your way through your trauma so that you can have fear and still do things.
From the galactic source, which is everywhere at once, may everything be known as the light of universal love. When we give up our fear of losing something and let that fear turn into love, we will receive something in return of unimaginable beauty, our true self shining through our soul. What the end time spiritual survival is really all about is the perfection of the human soul. This is what all the great spiritual teachers, mystics, and saints have been pointing to.
So I know a lot of you all want to really get your bearings on when we talk about this bifurcation or like the splitting of two worlds, this old earth and new earth. So we're going to explain what that means. So that's going to help you really, really start choosing your timeline. You know what I'm saying? So again, just remember, the shit that's in here being broadcasted is probably a lot of fake news because it's just a residual of the old age, just like what we see in the mainstream media. So just remember, you don't have to follow the narrative. Create your own narrative, and do it in love and with love.
Getting our bearings. This is the splitting of the worlds. Let's get our bearings now. Let's get back to where we are in time and why. As As I write these words, we are 9 years short of 2012.
And so this is from the author of the Harmonic Convergence.
How and why did everything get turned so upside down? We are living in a massive value inversion. Karmic gridlock, too. Nothing old will work anymore. Relationships, institutions, programs, and forms. Everything old is now out of the evolutionary norm, being dissolved or evolved.
And the frequencies are shifting as a result of this. The solar radiation field is actually mutating itself. And we are mutating with it because you are the second son. Y'all must remember. All right? So everywhere the old is being split apart from the new, everything is being separated out and at the same time getting more stuck. This is because we are living in what is known as the splitting of the worlds, or two worlds, two earths. When we talk of the splitting or the separation of the worlds, we are defining the closing of the cycles, the end of times, as the time of prophecy. So 2012, which was really 2021, right, is the Mayan prophecy that includes all prophecies. 2012 is the living through the closing of the cycle. So this is the survival guide for this new earth, or 4D, 5D frequency consciousness. So some contemporary research suggests that the long count of the Mayan calendar was created basically so that we could time the illusion, which is called Maya, the evolution of consciousness. Now, if this is true, the idea is not unique, because the Vedic Yuga system also has been linking these cycles of time with levels of collective consciousness for centuries. In the West, right, and based in the 2012 Mayan calendar theory, it was growing and encompasses a wide range of ideas relating to consciousness and science. This gets into microbiology. This gets into Carl Kalman's acceleration of time creation. This gets into John Mayer Jenkins' precision of the equinoxes, the physicist Maxine about the unified field interpretations, and even Greg Braden's fractal time, to name a few things. So this information has been coming through a lot of different ways. Now, for the Maya, the end date notation on the true long count calendar is 13.0.0.0.0. This dating method use of 5 different measures of time, the day known as a kin. So when we talk about kins, we're talking about the day. The 20-day period is the uno. And the 360-day period is called a tune. Okay, so a 7,200-day period, roughly equivalent to 19.7 years, which is a cartoon, and a period of 144,000 days, which is roughly equivalent to 394 years, which is a Baktun. So when we talk about the 144,000, that's represented as well on a cosmological level. So with this particular date, it indicates 13 Baktuns, 0 Katuns, 0 tunes, and 0 unos, and 0 kins since the beginning of the long count, which was from 3114 BC. So there's a man, this is some of the history behind this calendar system and how accurate it has been for being able to prophetically predict things. So Grandfather Cirillo states that the next to last phase of this cycle, called the Veil of the Nine Hells, it began about 500 years ago with the arrival of the conquistador Hernando Cortez in Mexico in 1521. And this lasted up until 1987, which is when the harmonic convergence began and this information began coming through the way that it was back to us. This is so deep. I'm going to tie in how the indigenous and the ancestors wanted to protect this information to be released now. And you are hearing this now. So, which marked the beginning of the time of warning. So this was publicized worldwide as the harmonic convergence, introducing the Mayan end date of 2012 into Western consciousness. The time of warning will be upon us until the Mayan long count reaches 13, which the next day numbering will be the reset. This is why you keep hearing about the reset. So this is the shift from one age to another. Peace. What's up, Bam?
Yeah.
You up in
Thanks,
this
bro.
thing with the fox. May they return to you. I love it.
Yeah.
So the indigenous peoples of the Americas say these shifts have happened before. Their traditions teach the existence of previous prehistoric civilizations on our planet. And a lot of this has already been talked about in the Quiche Mayan Bible. Now, the gods tried several times. It's really interesting the way that they depict creation. I thought that it was something just really stood out about this. I wanted to point out, and this is information that you don't really hear a lot. So the gods tried several times to create sentient beings with higher capacities. Do you hear this? Previous peoples were made from other materials such as mud and wood, but because they did not possess or develop the capacity to be able to worship a creator, those cycles perish. This is really interesting because this kind of gets into the creation theory of who is the they and them in Genesis and things like that. And you got El, and then you have the Anunnaki, and you have the whole history of the draconian goddess, right? The creation going all the way back to Tiamat. I mean, it's so much. So basically, the contemporary humans were made from corn. This is the way this story has been handed down in indigenous cultures, and are the most advanced version of the species to date because they know how to speak, pray, make offerings, and perform ceremonies for the gods. Each of these ages was ruled by a god of an element, such as wind, fire, or water, and was destroyed by its opposite. The world of fire, for example, was destroyed by water. Some hold that we are in the fourth world now, moving to the fifth. Others state that we are entering the sixth. This may seem like mythology to Westerners, but Dennis Tedlock, an anthropologist and translator of the Popol Vuh, thinks it is more accurate to use the term mythistory, basically combining myth and history, because these beliefs are intimately woven into the reality of the Maya, the illusion, what we perceive to be time and space, the simulation of what we perceive to be reality.